Hi, I'm Nate Seberg, and this is One Day Ahead. Welcome to One Day Ahead. This is Lord of the Flies in 9 minutes. This video is a summary in broad strokes with near criminal oversimplifications. Two big things before we start. One, I have a full-blown series that goes really deep on flies. It's summary and analysis, and we get granular. Second, that series is accompanied by a comprehensive Lord of the Flies teaching unit. If you are a teacher looking to tackle this text with your students, check that out. All of that is available at onedayahead.com, along with a bunch of other series. Links below. All right, we're burning time. Like and subscribe. Let's go to the summary. Chapter 1. So this book opens on our protagonist, Ralph. He has just survived a plane crash and is wandering around a jungle. He comes across another survivor, an overweight, asthmatic, and bespectacled boy called Piggy. Piggy fills us in on details he heard the pilot say before the crash. In short, a nuclear bomb was dropped on wherever they were going, so no one knows they didn't make it, so no rescue is coming. In a lagoon, they find a conch shell. Piggy teaches Ralph how to blow it, and they use it to call the other survivors, all of them boys and none of them older than 12. Here we meet the other principal characters. So Ralph represents democracy and civilization. Piggy is science and rationality. And then we meet Jack, who comes to represent passion and power won through strength. Next, Roger. He's scary. If Jack is power, Roger is control, fear, and cruelty. And finally, Simon. He's a sweet and sensitive kid who, he's not Jesus, but he's not far off. The guy meditates and cares about people. There's a bunch more kids, but they don't matter. So, at the first meeting, they elect Ralph as leader. They make Jack the head of the hunters, and then Ralph, Jack, and Simon climb the only mountain where they learn they are on an island, and they bond as bros for life. Chapter 2 opens with a second meeting, where a small boy with a birthmark on his face asks what the big kids are going to do about the snake beastie that he saw in the jungle. This freaks everybody out. Then they change the subject with a banger of an idea. Let's build a signal fire on top of the mountain using Piggy's glasses. They do, but then the fire gets out of control and burns fully half of the mountain. Whoops. While it burns, Piggy scolds the kids, saying that they are acting like unsupervised children. Then he has an asthma attack when he realizes that the birthmark kid can't be found and was last seen where the fire is currently spreading. In that moment, a tree explodes in the fire, sending thick jungle vines high up into the sky. The little kids scream, "Snakes, snakes. Look at the snakes." In Chapter 3, some time has passed, and we follow Jack on a pig hunt. He is really into it, but is unsuccessful. He gets back to find Ralph and Simon building huts, and that's also not going well. Ralph and Jack, both frustrated, argue with each other while Simon wanders into a glade where he goes just to be in nature. In Chapter 4, Jack paints his face and leads his hunters on their first successful kill of a wild pig. The kids are elated and they start to celebrate, but what they are supposed to be doing was mining the signal fire. It turns out that while they were hunting, a ship came past and they missed their shot at rescue. Ralph yells at everyone and then they relight the fire. The chapter ends with the kids reenacting the hunt. This party atmosphere following a missed rescue opportunity is too much for Ralph. He demands a meeting and then stalks off pissed. Chapter 5 is that meeting. There are a lot of meetings in this book. This one is a lot of Ralph being disappointed dad, and then the kids argue over if there really is a beast or not. The only one who gets it really is Simon, who says, maybe there is a beast. What I mean is, maybe it's only us. The meeting devolves into shouting until Jack takes control by leading the kids whooping and mock hunting into the night. Only Ralph, Piggy, and Simon don't go. Chapter 6. While the kids are sleeping, an aerial battle rages high above the island, and a dead pilot floats down, lands on the mountain, and gets tangled up in his parachute cords. He gets stuck in such a way that when the wind blows, he sits up. You probably know where this is going. Two kids on fire duty, twins, wake up, spot the body, freak out, and run down. Below, the boys have a meeting, because of course they do. They decide that there really is a beast, and they are going to go look for him at the end of the island, since it's the only place Jack hasn't been on his hunts. After doing that, they will climb the mountain and relight the fire. So, they all make their way to the end of the island, and here we get some important geography. Everything constricts to a narrow, single-file approach before opening up onto a craggy fort they name Castle Rock. Golding, the author, mentions that large boulders happen to be perched on top of the fort, and if given a shove, they would definitely tumble down right along that approaching path. I'm sure that won't come up again. The kids all want to stay and play in the fort, but Ralph, thinking of rescue, makes them leave. In Chapter 7, the boys hike up the mountain to relight the fire and find the beast. When they reach the top, it is full dark, but Ralph, Roger, and Jack creep forward. They find the beast hunched over. Suddenly, the wind blows, the beast sits up, and the kids lose their tiny little minds. They scatter in panic. Chapter 8 is nuts. Menaced by the beast, Jack makes his play for power, but the kids still want Ralph, so Jack stalks off. However, over the course of the day, most of the big kids slink off to join him. Jack forms his own little tribe at Castle Rock, proclaims himself chief, and leads a hunt. After killing a pig, they cut off its head and mount it on a double-ended stake, saying aloud to the jungle that it's a gift for the beast. Jack then leads a raid on the other camp, stealing their fire, announcing his ascendancy to chief, and inviting anyone who wants meat to come join his tribe, because there's nothing like a luau to cement a mutiny. From there we jump to Simon, who slipped away earlier to be alone. Walking along, he comes across the pig's head. He hallucinates that it is talking to him, and then he collapses, which is something that he does. In chapter 9, Simon regains consciousness and ascends the mountain, where he learns that the beast is just a dead guy. Staggering and physically unwell, he goes to tell the others. Then we jump to Ralph and Piggy, who decide to go to the mutiny luau. When they arrive, Jack gives them meat and then makes another play for power. As Ralph and Jack argue, a thunderstorm breaks. Since Ralph has the shelters, things are trending in his direction until Jack leans into this frenzied moment and starts a mock hunt dance thing. In their fear of the storm, the kids join in and the moment grows to a delirious pitch. And right when this mass hysteria fever dream hits a crescendo, our guy Simon wanders unawares out onto the beach. The mob sets upon him, screaming about the beast, and in a manic state, they kill him. Yikes. Chapter 10 is a bit of a murder hangover for Ralph and Piggy. They discuss last night, but only obliquely. It's clear that they took some part, and they are not mentally ready to face the enormity of that. At the other camp, Jack is back on his grind. He declares another hunt, another feast, and warns them to look out for the beast. When the kids are like, "Say what now?" He declares that the beast is a threat because mystically it can change shape and cannot really be killed. The boys are suitably impressed. Realizing that they can't have a feast without a fire, Jack sets off with some older boys. They attack Ralph's camp and steal Piggy's glasses. Chapter 11. Ralph's crew, which is down to 4 now, goes to the fort to demand the return of Piggy's glasses. They are stopped at that narrow approach to Castle Rock. After Ralph and Jack do some fighting, Roger pushes one of those boulders mentioned in Chapter 7. It tumbles down, destroys the conch, and crushes Piggy's skull. Ralph, now alone, runs for his literal life. The final chapter, chapter 12, has Ralph in a daze after Piggy's murder. Eventually, he sneaks back to the fort where he has a surreptitious conversation with 2 boys on guard duty. He learns that when the morning comes, they will be hunting him, and that Roger has sharpened a stick at both ends. This is cryptic in the moment, but we will come to realize that that is exactly how they mounted the pig's head, and they mean to do the same with Ralph. The rest of the chapter is Ralph running for his life. Jack's tribe lights the whole island on fire, and in the last desperate moments, they spill out onto the beach and find a British naval officer looking rather confused. He has a gun on his hip and a warship bobs in the distance behind him. You're supposed to ask yourself, what is the difference really between these warring boys and the warring adults? The children burst into tears and the book ends. And that is The Lord of the Flies. Kind of. I skipped a lot. For a full picture, read it, but the next best thing would be to check out my full series at onedayahead.com, where we walk chapter by chapter with summaries, analysis, quotes, and a full-on teaching unit. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other series. We'll see you next time on One Day Ahead.